Media, more specifically, digital media. Something we use every day in our routine and life. It has become a major part of us and is something most of us can't live without, especially in the modern world we live in. However, this sort of daily exposure to such a thing should have its effects on us, right? Well, the simple answer is yes. I'm sure most of us will agree that there are, in fact, many psychological impacts that we get from digital media. And there are. Both positive and negative, in fact. Of course, these effects are many. There are many forms of digital media. However, after some research, I came to conclude that there are 4 major forms that are most commonly used by the majority of people. Those 4 forms are social media, movies/shows, video games, and music. Whilst these all remain under digital media, they each do have different ways on how they can impact individuals. Whilst I was researching on the psychological impacts of digital media upon viewers and users, I've had the great pleasure of being in contact with an amazing media psychologist, Dr. Pamela Routledge. Dr. Pamela Routledge is a media psychologist, a social scientist who also applies expertise in human behavior and neuroscience, along with 20+ years as a media producer to media and technology. She helped me massively by providing the right knowledge to all the information I have gained from interviewing 3 individuals. Now, I have interviewed these 3 individuals and asked them so many questions, both open-ended and close-ended, about how did they think that digital media affected them psychologically and emotionally just as well, because emotion is still under psychology. And the answers I received from them was very interesting to know. And it was very interesting to go through all this interview and to get all this feedback from them. Based on the most used forms of digital media, I have thrown a series of both closed and open-ended questions at the interviewees, and each interview took around 35 to 40 minutes to conduct. As most of the interviewees requested to remain anonymous, their names won't be shared. However, they were okay with me sharing their actual ages, genders, and occupation. Interviewee A was a 26-year-old teacher. Interviewee B was a 16-year young girl who is a high school student. And interviewee C is a 29-year-old taking his bachelor's in architectural engineering. As the interviews were around 35 to 40 minutes long, here are some of the answers I got from the interviewees when asked about how do they think certain forms of digital media affected them.
I would say sort of a negative influence or effect that happens from social media. Of course, there are a lot of these influencers, a lot of people on social media, the models, very beautiful people here and there. You know, you just look at entertaining content and you end up on such people's profiles and accounts. These things, you know, when you look at them, sometimes it does affect you. Like I'll be thinking, oh, look at how beautiful they look, or how slim they look, how fit they are, look at all these things. It makes me think once or twice, or you know, or a lot of times about how I should be looking like this, or why am I not looking like this, why am I not as slim as that model. All these things, you know, it does influence you, influences a person psychologically, and some are positive where it will push you to do healthy things, work out, this and that, but some of them are actually negative.
Yeah, to a certain extent, it does affect me emotionally and psychologically, because depending, for example, when it comes to news or around the world, it does affect me, like reading it, like, or if I heard news, whether it's good or bad, of course it does affect me.
I would say entertainment mainly. Basically, it's for entertainment, but it can also be a sort of something that would lift up my mood in bad days. When I'm stressed, when I'm feeling really down, a good movie might, turn that mood around. So it does affect you positively, I would say. Some movies might be emotional, which makes you feel sad and kind of too emotional. So such movies would also affect you. I wouldn't say negatively because it's just a natural response from a person, but it does affect.
At that moment, I'd watch it like if I felt sad, I want to watch something happy would make me feel more positive, or I'd feel like watching like something that would make me emotional, I would. It depends on the mood that I'm having. Right. Yes, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Video games is a very important part of my I would say, like, for me to relax and chill and put the whole day behind me, because it's usually stressful at work doing a lot of things as a teacher. So when you come home, usually I would do this after I'm done with everything, because it's something that makes me happy. It's like a hobby.
It also like helps me to, if I'm having like a bad mood or something, it like helps me be more positive and happy. And it makes me sometimes emotional. So it depends on what I'm listening to.
So you'd say it does have an emotional and a psychological effect on you, music.
Definitely, yes.
All right. So
after interviewing those 3 people and having the amazing pleasure to be in contact with Dr. Pamela Rutledge, I came to conclude that yes, digital media just has so many emotional and psychological impacts on us as human beings, and these impacts or effects could be both negative or positive. Digital media could come in any form. It could come in the form of movies, shows, video games, music, or even social media. It could also come in the form of websites or even ebooks. All of these things could be a form of digital media just as well. Digital media could just affect you in many ways. And what type of digital media it is what determines how it affects you, negatively or positively. For example, if you go to the theaters and you watch a really happy movie or a comedy, you would come out of the theaters just very much feeling happy, feeling in a very positive state of mind and in a very positive vibe. Compare that if you go to the theaters and you watch a very sad movie, you would come out of the theaters feeling very much sad and feeling very much depressed because of the movie. And so the type of movie it was is what determines how it affected you. The same thing could go to music or video games. If you listen to sad music, it could affect you negatively in a way where you could be sadder and much more depressed. But if you listen to happy music, it could affect you in a positive way, where you could feel happier. Apart from emotion, digital media also has the ability to affect us psychologically in a way where we could get very much influenced by the things we see or we hear. For example, if a man watches a movie and the character in the movie is very handsome and very muscular, this could influence the man watching the movie to start making changes within himself. So that influence from the movie could start in the brain psychologically and could be key to other changes in the man as well, in which after the movie he would start wanting to work out, be in a better shape and so on and so forth. And so what started as a psychological influence could end up becoming a physical change within the man himself. So that's just one example on how digital media could affect us psychologically. Also, another good example is that when someone is very much stressed or having so much anxiety, really calm music could help us be much more relaxed and in a calmer state of mind. So these things could also affect us psychologically. This just shows how strongly digital media could affect us psychologically and emotionally just as well.